I'm Shauna Rappaport here at GreenBiz 16, and I am joined by Paul Hawken, who is the Executive Director of Project Drawdown, among so many things, having been at the forefront of really leading so many of these conversations and action across industry for decades. Paul, thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
For those who have not yet heard about Project Drawdown, give us the high level on what is this project?
Drawdown itself means the first time on a year-to-year basis where greenhouse gases go down. And they've been going up since the industrial age. And the organization itself, its purpose and mission is to make a list of the 100 most substantive solutions to climate change, to measure, model, and map their impact in terms of carbon and finance, and then to scale them, because each of these solutions is existing. In other words, we are already doing them. It's not something we should do or could do or feel guilty that we haven't done. These are things we're doing right now. And they're all scaling, they all work, they're all being actively promulgated in the world. And what we do is we measure what will happen if they continue to scale over 30 years at a rigorous but reasonable fashion, and to see if we collectively, humanity, can achieve drawdown in the next 30 years with what we know what to do, because we are doing it.
So where, relative to the climate conversation today and where it needs to be, what is the role that you see this project playing in facilitating a much needed transition?
I think the first thing is to name the goal. And the goal isn't 2 degrees. The goal isn't 1.5 degrees. Those are metrics, those are measures, those are limits. But we should really name the goal. If we're going to achieve something, we have to name it. And the goal is drawdown, to actually reverse climate change and to bring carbon back home. So that's probably one of the most important things about drawdown, is first to name it, and second, to map, measure, model it to see if it's possible. And what we believe strongly, given the work we've done so far, that it's possible within 30 years.
So how do you talk to many of the industry leaders that are here at GreenBiz this week? I mean, climate change is, the kind of goals that many of these companies are saying, climate is a big, hairy, audacious challenge, and emissions reductions at even modest levels are very challenging for many of these companies. How do we facilitate an embracing of what you referenced this morning as a sense of fearlessness as we approach solving these challenges and embracing the possibility of reversing climate change?
It's a good question. I mean, the way we've approached it is we're putting too much carbon up there, and we should stop, reduce, less. In other words, we should change our carbon footprint. We should use the language that's being used is decarbonize. We should decarbonize the economy. What we're saying is the opposite. We should do more, not less. So it changes the whole, sort of zeitgeist around it, which is like, let's do a lot more. Let's bring it home. It's not about decarbonizing, it's recarbonizing. It's bringing it back home from where it belongs, which is here on Earth. It's where it came from. And so it actually increases the imagination, the creativity, and innovation available to when you start thinking goals that are bigger and more expansive and broader. When you think of zero, we think of less, it kind of makes you go, oh, okay, less and less and less. Well, who wants less and less and less? We want more and more and more. Obviously, we don't want more fossil fuel emissions, but we want more productivity, we want more forests, we want more health, we want better, cleaner air. We want oceans that are de-acidifying, not acidifying. We want more fish in our waters, not less fish. We want better watersheds, not less of them. And so when you talk about reversing climate change, you're talking about a systemic look at the world of human beings aligning themselves, companies aligning themselves with what we know works, which is nature, which is photosynthesis, which is sequestration, which is synergy, which is complex systemic relationships between living systems, that actually regenerate. And the default mode of nature, every aspect of it, whether it's our bodies or soil or forests or any living system, is that the moment you stop degrading it, polluting it, scraping it, poisoning it. The moment you stop, it begins to regenerate.
That's a beautiful articulation of the system at a whole. I want to ask you a final question. Imagining we meet back here in 4 years for GreenBiz 2020. What does success look like when we think about the possibility of industry really embracing drawdown as the new goal?
Commitment. Commitment. That they get it, that is the goal, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're working together. They're sharing best practices. They're learning how to do it. They're learning how to make factories as good as forests that surround them in terms of ecosystem services. They have embraced the idea that a company can be just as helpful and giving and donative and life-supporting as life itself. And that it is not about getting down into fine metrics and measurements and, oh, we did a little bit better than we did last year, and the direction is good in terms of carbon emissions. It's really, the question is the direction good in terms of creating systems that create the conditions for life? And that really is the only goal a business should have, which is to create the conditions that are conducive to life. Nothing else will do over the long term.
Paul, thank you for creating the conditions conducive to life and to shifting the narrative to one that is empowering and inspires us to be fearless. It's an honor and delight to work with you. Paul Hawken of Project Drawdown, thank you so much.
Thanks, Shauna.